Why your brain loves trauma dumping hook. Ever spilled your darkest secrets to a stranger and felt amazing afterward? That wasn't the 3 glasses of wine. That was your brain getting high on its own supply. Welcome to the weird science of trauma dumping, where your brain tricks you into thinking Karen from accounting needed to hear about your existential crisis at 9 a.m. on a Monday. Today we're uncovering why your brain is basically an emotional exhibitionist. And trust me, the psychology behind it is wild. Hey, it's your psychological partner in crime here, ready to dive into the sticky, messy, wonderfully twisted world of why we just love to unload our emotional baggage onto unsuspecting victims. I mean, listeners. If you've ever caught yourself oversharing and then thought, why did I just tell my Uber driver about my childhood trauma? Zrania, this video is your brain's confession letter. Let's get into it. 1. The dopamine dump. Your brain isn't just being dramatic. It's being a drug dealer. When you trauma dump, your brain releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical you get from scrolling TikTok at 3 a.m. or eating an entire pizza by yourself. It's basically emotional cocaine, and your brain is hooked. See? Every time you unload your emotional baggage onto someone, your brain feels relief. That relief triggers your reward system, and boom, dopamine city, population, you. It's why you walk away from an intense oversharing session feeling lighter, while your listener might need to lie down in a dark room for several hours. This isn't just some theory. Studies show that sharing emotions lights up the same brain area that gets excited when you eat chocolate or win money. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between winning the lottery and telling a first date about your complicated relationship with your mother. No wonder you can't stop. Think your brain is just being friendly? Think again. Your gray matter has sneaky plans that would make any villain proud. 2. The fake closeness trick. Here's the kicker. Trauma dumping creates a false sense of closeness. Your brain tricks you into thinking you formed a deep connection with someone just because you told them about your childhood pet goldfish's funeral. Meanwhile, they're wondering if it's too late to fake a phone call and escape. This trick is so powerful that your brain will convince you that you and this stranger are now bonded for life. Research shows that sharing personal stuff activates the same brain areas as deep friendship, except actual friendship requires, give and take and boundaries. It's like your brain is playing a con game on you. Trust me, this barista definitely wants to hear about how your ex betrayed you after you ordered a latte. They're practically your therapist now. Meanwhile, the barista is wondering if they should change shifts. But before you blame yourself for oversharing, let me drop this truth bomb that'll make everything click. 3. Emotional outsourcing. Your brain is lazy. Why do its own emotional heavy lifting when it can outsource the job? Trauma dumping is your brain's way of saying, I don't want to deal with these feelings alone, so here, you take some. It's like emotional pyramid schemes, except nobody gets rich selling feelings. Your brain has discovered that dealing with hard feelings takes work, and hey, why not let someone else do some of that work? It's like getting someone else to build your furniture because you don't want to read the instructions. The fancy term psychologists use is co-regulation. But healthy co-regulation needs permission and sharing. Your brain doesn't care about these details. It just wants the relief without doing the emotional homework. It's like showing up to class expecting an A when you haven't even bought the textbook. If you think this is just talk, prepare to have your mind blown by what researchers discovered. The stress flush trauma dumping actually lowers your stress hormone levels. That's the stuff making you feel like you're being chased by a bear when you're just trying to send an email. Talking about trauma literally flushes stress out of your system. Your pain is going right down the emotional drain. In fact, studies found that talking about bad feelings can calm down your brain's alarm system. When you trauma dump, you're basically taking your brain's smoke detector battery out so it stops beeping. Problem solved, right? Wrong. While your stress levels are dropping faster than your ex's interest after you mentioned wanting kids on the first date, your listener's stress levels are rising. This stress imbalance is why trauma dumping feels so good for the dumper and so draining for the dumpee. It's a transfer of stress from you to them. But wait, if trauma dumping feels so good, why does everyone slowly stop answering your texts? The answer will shock you. The relationship paradox. Here's the twisted irony. While your brain gets relief, you're actually overwhelming the other person's brain. Their stress levels spike while yours drop. It's like emotional vampirism. You feel better while they need a nap and therapy. No wonder people start being busy when they see your name pop up. The effect, called secondhand stress, actually rewires your brain temporarily. So while you're walking away feeling light as a feather, your friend is carrying your emotional boulders and theirs. The math doesn't add up. For every trauma dumping session that makes you feel 50% better, your friendship with that person gets 30% more strained. After a few rounds of this emotional Ponzi scheme, you've got nothing left to invest in and no friends to invest with. Before you swear off sharing forever, there's something crucial you need to understand about your brain's secret agenda. 6. Cave people programming. Your brain isn't trying to ruin your social life. It's trying to save you. Back in cave days, sharing your troubles meant the tribe would help you survive. Your brain is running Stone Age software in a smartphone world. It's not a glitch. It's a feature from 10,000 years ago that needs an update. Experts have found that sharing bad experiences was critical for early human survival. If a caveman kept quiet about seeing a tiger, the whole tribe could be eaten. This leftover cave programming means your brain is still wired to signal distress to your tribe. Except now, your tribe is just your roommate who was trying to watch Netflix, not prepare for a tiger attack. Your nervous system doesn't know we've upgraded from caves to condos. So how do we hack this system without losing all our friends? I've got the brain cheat codes. 7. The permission hack. Asking first is the difference between making friends and losing them. Simply asking, "Is this a good time to vent?" triggers the same brain rewards, but keeps the other person's stress in check. It's like wearing emotional protection. Everybody wins. When someone gives informed permission to hear your troubles, their brain activates different networks, specifically their thinking centers, rather than their panic centers. This simple shift changes everything. Their brain prepares for listening rather than going into emergency mode. It's like the difference between getting ambushed and planning for battle. One leaves casualties, the other creates victory. A simple, "Hey, I've had a rough day. Do you have time to listen?" creates a completely different brain experience for both of you. Your brain still gets the good chemicals, and their brain doesn't get the stress overload. But there's one more piece of this puzzle that changes everything about how your brain processes trauma. 8. The journal jackpot. Your brain doesn't actually care who hears your trauma. It just needs to get it out. Writing in a journal gives you 80% of the same brain benefits without making your friends avoid you at parties. Your brain gets its fix, and your social life stays intact. That's what I call a win-win. Researchers found that putting feelings into words, whether you tell a person or write it down, calms your brain's alarm system. Here's the mind-blowing part. Your brain processes written trauma differently than spoken trauma. Writing engages your thinking brain, while speaking often bypasses it. This means journaling actually helps you process the emotions, not just dump them. It's like the difference between throwing your trash on the street versus putting it through proper recycling. So with all these brain hacks, you might be wondering what the perfect balance looks like. 9. The 80-20 rule. Here's the golden ratio. For healthy brain chemistry, aim for 80% processing emotions yourself through mindfulness, journaling, or therapy, and 20% sharing with others with permission. This keeps your brain chemistry balanced and your friendships intact. It's like emotional nutrition. You need a balanced diet. This ratio isn't random. It's based on research into emotional health and lasting friendships. Studies of long-lasting friendships show that balanced emotional exchange is key to staying connected. The most resilient people tend to have multiple emotional processing strategies, not just one. If trauma dumping is your only strategy, you're putting all your eggs in one very fragile basket. By developing multiple coping tools, you're creating emotional stability that doesn't depend on Karen from accounting being available for your latest crisis. And now, for the mind-blowing conclusion that ties everything together. 10. The brain training loop. The most fascinating part? Your brain gets better at processing emotions every time you do it consciously instead of dumping. It's like a muscle. The more you work it out, the stronger it gets. Start small today, and in 6 months, you'll be an emotional processing machine. Brain scientists call this self-directed brain rewiring. Your brain literally rebuilds itself based on how you choose to process emotions. Each time you pause before dumping and choose a more balanced approach, you're creating new brain pathways that make emotional regulation easier next time. People who learn to process emotions internally show increased activity in the thinking part of the brain and decreased activity in the alarm part over time. Translation: your brain's CEO gets stronger, and your brain's panic button gets quieter. You become less reactive and more responsive to emotional triggers. This creates a positive loop, the opposite of the vicious cycle trauma dumping can create. Instead of draining relationships and feeling temporarily better, you're building stronger relationships and feeling sustainably better. Your emotional intelligence literally levels up. Here's your mission. This week, catch yourself before you trauma dump. Ask permission, try journaling first, or schedule time with a therapist who's literally paid to receive your emotional package. I want you to track your emotional sharing for just 1 week. Notice when you feel the urge to dump and try alternatives. Do the 10-minute journal test. Write frantically for 10 minutes before deciding if you still need to share. You might be surprised how often the urge passes. Hit that subscribe button if you want more brain hacks that your therapist is too polite to tell you about. And leave a comment sharing your best trauma dumping recovery story.